Seattle, for the first time in nearly 2 months, Doug Pederson and the Eagles found themselves in a game in which every decision, every call, and every mistake mattered. That seems to happen when you trail for an entire game. And when you lose, as the Eagles did to the Seahawks, 24-10 on Sunday night, every decision, call and mistake that didn't go your way will be magnified. Just as they are when the results are positive. But Pederson and the Eagles were on the opposite side of that coin for the first time in what has seemed like an eternity. Did the coach make the right decisions on several should he go for it or not fourth downs? Did he toss his challenge flag at the right time? Did he have an offensive game plan designed to take advantage of Seattle's backup cornerbacks? And did he have his team prepared to face the Eagles' first legitimate opponent since the Panthers in early October? Those questions are all fair. But it's almost important to not forget the first 11 games, the 9-game winning streak and all the successful moves Pederson had made. The Eagles still have the best record, 10-2, in the NFL, although they are now tied with the Vikings and Patriots. They still hold a 4-game lead in the NFC East and control their own destiny. But the Eagles didn't bring their game to CenturyLink Field, and Pederson will have to shoulder his share of the blame. Penalties were once again a problem. Asked the day after the Eagles' 31-3 win over the Bears if anything stood out on film, Pederson quipped, "Besides the 11 penalties and the 4 fumbles?" He knew the Seahawks would capitalize on that many mistakes. But the Eagles didn't clean up the penalties during the last week of practice. They were flagged 5 times for 54 yards in the first half, each one seemingly devastating, and 2 times for 10 yards in the second. Some of the penalties were suspect, like the first quarter pass interference penalty on cornerback Ronald Darby. But the Eagles were clearly sloppy. The Eagles were better in the turnover department, but not by much. They tossed 1 interception. And they coughed up 1 fumble, a costly one. Carson Wentz opened the second half with an impressive drive and had the Eagles all the way down to the Seattle 4. He scrambled on second down and neared the goal line, but he fumbled the football inches short and inches before his knee hit the turf. A hit from defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson jarred the ball loose and it bounced out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. It was the pivotal error of the game and it was Wentz'. The play calling and execution on the drive were excellent, especially after the Seahawks had stifled Alshon Jeffrey and Zach Ertz in the first half. The Eagles went up tempo as Pederson countered with a series of downfield throws to Ertz for 14 and 10 yards and to Jeffrey for 11 and 23 yards. The success of the drive and an earlier 4th and 1 conversion covered up a questionable challenge by Pederson. Wentz hit Torrey Smith on 3rd and 12 near the marker, but the ball was spotted a half-yard short. Pederson kept his offense on the field, but then threw his challenge flag. After the review, the call on the field stood. If Pederson was confident enough to go for it on the Seattle 29, and he should have been since the Eagles were a perfect 8 of 8 on their previous 4th and 1 tries this season, then why gamble on the challenge and potentially lose a timeout? Of course, Wentz's sneak picked up the first down, but a timeout was wasted. The most dubious of Pederson's 4th down decision came later in the quarter. The Seahawks held a 17-3 lead with 3 minutes and 55 seconds left in the third, and the Eagles faced a 4th down and 3 at the Seattle 25. The Eagles needed points, obviously, but there was still plenty of time. A field goal would have trimmed the margin to 11 points. The Eagles would have still needed 2 scores to take the lead, but a touchdown and 2-point conversion and a field goal would have potentially knotted the score. Pederson's aggressiveness has paid off more times than not. But the Eagles failed to convert here when Wentz was pressured by the blitzing K. J. Wright and overthrew the open Kenyan Barner. Pederson's end-of-half decision-making was curious. The Eagles faced 3rd and 2 on the Seattle 46 with 59 seconds left. They ran to the right after a pitch to Corey Clement, but Lane Johnson slipped and fell and Clement was stopped for no gain. Ajayi and Blunt had shouldered most of the load on the ground in the first half, rushing for a combined 60 yards on 13 carries, 4. 6 average, but Clement got the call on the stretch play. As the clock was clicking down from 40-something seconds, Pederson had his offense rush up to the line. But Wentz didn't quick snap and the Eagles bled to clock down until a timeout was called with 18 ticks remaining. Pederson seemed to be egging Seattle coach Pete Carroll into calling a timeout. If the Seahawks had stopped the clock, he might have gone for it with 1 timeout left. An argument could be made that Pederson should have tried immediately anyway. But the Eagles trailed by only 1 score and would have the ball to start the second half. Donnie Jones punted 43 yards to the 3-yard line and Wilson kneeled, and the Seahawks went to break up, 10-3. Pederson's earlier decision on 4th and short proved to be a sound one. The Eagles, down 3-0, were at their own 47 and with 1 yard to go. It would have been an aggressive move to go for it, despite the Eagles' perfect record on 4th and 1s, but Pederson elected to punt. Jones's boot went 43 yards to the 10-yard line and there was no return. Jim Schwartz's defense responded, and after a 3-and-out and a punt, the Eagles got the ball back on the Seattle 46. But the offense could do nothing with the good field position and punted once again after Wentz was sacked on 3rd down,